Hello, welcome to the Nintendo Bros podcast. This is Pete,
And this is Derek.
and we're back to talk about games.
Like usual.
Like usual. I mean, that's why you should be here. And if you're here, leave us a question or a comment, and we will answer it next week. We didn't get any comments from the last time.
Oh, dang, that's a surprise.
Yeah. So, be our first comment. You know you want to. You want to be the very first comment. It could be historic. How are you doing this week, Derek?
I'm doing good. I'm doing real good. Just following some game news and whatnot. How about you?
Okay. I had a back spasm that kind of threw me out of the loop. Couldn't move for a good hour.
Oh, wow. I had a back injury too this week, but it was just kind of a strained lower back. It wasn't like I couldn't walk or anything. Just tight.
Yeah, I couldn't walk. I went to the hospital.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I've been on these painkillers, so I'm a little drowsy. So I'll just let our readers know that if I'm a little sluggish, Derek, you got to pick up the energy.
Okay, I got the energy.
But it has allowed me to sit down and play a lot of Pokemon Snap.
Yeah, okay. I'm excited to hear your impressions.
Well, okay, Derek. Well, I'm going to ask you, how far are you so far?
I have beaten the game.
Oh, wow. Okay, so
well, I've seen the main story credits roll, but I still have a lot. I have a lot still left to do.
Did you just beat it in one sitting? Like, how many sittings did you?
I played most of a good chunk of yesterday and today. The thing is, I had a free weekend on Saturday and Sunday, so I just played through it.
Okay.
It's not, if you play the main story and just focus on getting through the next level, and it's really not that long.
Oh, you know what? I ended up in this one spot where I felt like I was just grinding the first two levels, and I didn't realize I had to take a picture of one of those sparkle crystal fruits.
Yeah, despite the game telling you that numerous times.
Well, you know what it was? I keep scanning it, and I thought scanning it was enough, because when you take a picture of it, it doesn't let you always choose it for. It was weird. It was like you know how you get that last section when you get rewarded on your pictures at the end.
Yeah, the rating by mirror.
Yeah, and sometimes you can't, like, it knows that you took a picture of those crystals, but it won't let you select them. So I don't.
It's got to be the glowing one. That's why.
Okay. Anyways, we're getting too deep here.
Yeah.
Let's tell me what you think about it. Give me your impression so far. You've gotten further than me, by the way. You have gone way further than me.
I freaking love it. I have no issues with it whatsoever. I except for maybe some of the menus being a little slow to get through. I love every second of the game. I think it's super fun, super addicting. I wish I had it here right now to play. I couldn't give it more praise. I really, really enjoy it. I had that nostalgia trip. I think they've improved on the old 64 game in every single way. I love the Pokemon. I love the puzzles, and there's still so much for me to do. So I have no complaints, besides for maybe the loading and the slow menus can be kind of annoying.
Yeah, I'm pretty much agree with you. I find it is kind of like a weird N64 Dreamcast nostalgia trip for me. I'm finding, and there's a moment hit me the other day when I kept kind of doing one more time. And you kind of get to this point where you realize it's like kind of an arcade. It's almost like an arcade game, right? It's like you're riding a little ride for 2 to 3 minutes, kind of trying to get as many pictures as you can, and it's just like always trying to best your scores. I find it pretty addictive. I'm loving it too.
I know, yeah, and even the idea of there's a lot of complaints about it being kind of grindy, but and I know you had that issue where you couldn't figure out and you were grinding, but for me it was like, I wanted to do the same level 3 or 4 times, and by that point the next level had already unlocked. Like, I had never reached a point where I was like, this is grinding or anything. So
and I had fun doing it the whole time. I'm glad that I remember renting the N64 one and beating it in a rental. So I'm actually really taken aback by just how much content this game does have. Like, there's so many levels. I thought there'd be like 4 levels with the day and night cycles, and that would be it. And there's like almost 10.
And I don't know where you are, but there's a lot more levels than you like. And even the levels that you think are just one Pokemon are not one Pokemon.
Yeah, because you can come back for level 2, level 3, and I haven't gotten any level 4s. Have you on a stage?
I've maxed out one of the first levels, night, but I think it only goes up to 3 anyways, or I don't remember. I play that level a lot.
Okay. Yeah, I really like the game. It did get through a period where I felt like I was stuck on those first 2 levels, and it did feel like the tutorial took a little long to get through.
Yeah, the tutorial, yeah.
Like, I don't know why. I always find sometimes I play these games and the tutorial in the first hour or whatever is so bogged down. It's funny to think that everyone goes through that to play the game. But
I know I was kind of thinking about I mean, the tutorial in this game, you do it at the lab, right? And that girl kind of talks you through it.
Yeah.
And I was like, why can't they just put the tutorial in the very first level and kind of just explain it as you do it, you know?
Or just make it optional.
Yeah, but I just mean, sure, but I mean, like your car is moving slow enough in the first level that they can just say, use the cursor to aim your thing and press A. It's like, why can't you just do that with the first 3 Pokemon in the game?
Totally. I mean, I don't know why they don't just ask you, "Hey, do you want us to give you a rundown on the tutorial how to play, or do you want to go for yourself?" Because for me,
Yeah.
I'm figuring it out myself, it really doesn't take that long, right? You're like, "Oh, this button does that." It like, I don't know. I feel like a lot of games do that now. A side topic: the introductions to a lot of games feels weak to me. It feels like they're always aiming for the lowest common denominator, and it just makes me not want to replay games a lot when you know you have that first hour and a half that isn't as fun.
Yeah.
Some games that do it right, some Metroid Prime and Mario Odyssey, I thought had a really great introduction. But
I didn't find this game that bad. I mean, honestly, like once you spam A and kind of click through it, it really you get to the game pretty quickly, I found.
yeah, I didn't find it too bad myself. And for a game where you're really taking pictures of Pokemon, it couldn't be too easy. You can't breeze you through the game or it'd be over in 1 second.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've put a good nearly 10 hours into it now. So I've got.
What are you going to tell me what level you're on?
Well, you know what, the levels kind of branch off at a certain point, and you can choose
Yeah.
between the desert or like the underwater section.
Yeah.
I've been doing the underwater section, so I'm like 3 levels into that.
How many giant Pokemon that light up have you found?
3.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. I don't think that, to be honest, I never really understood spoilers for this game. I mean,
I don't think there are spoilers. I was just curious. So you've beaten the underwater area.
yeah, but I haven't gotten to level 2 on all of it.
Okay, but have you beaten this desert yet? Have you?
No, still on level 1.
Okay, you have quite a few levels left.
Yeah, I know. I haven't been playing a ton, but it was fun. Me and my friend were taking turns. He wasn't as into it as I was, but still fun. So
Mhm.
do you see this as something? A lot of people online are speculating about DLC for this game. Any
I could
thoughts
see
on
that.
that?
You know what? I never even thought about it. But this was made by, don't correct me if I'm wrong, Bandai Namco, right?
Yeah, same team that did Pokken.
Yeah, and they do a fair amount of DLC. So I wouldn't be surprised. And I think this game is so well suited for it. And because there's so many, think of how many Pokemon aren't in the game, but not just Pokemon, but types, environments, interactions.
Yeah,
And it's easy to add, 50 requests even, and just keep the game kind of going. And the more that they add to the game, the more the online is used, right? I know that I haven't really done the online picture stuff. I don't know if you have. We'll talk about that in a bit.
okay.
But the I can see that if adding DLC, how the online will keep the online alive, and I think that will help drive the game further. So
Well, I gotta say, so I have done a little bit of the picture editing and putting my photos online. Some of them have gotten some suites, they call them.
Mhm.
Like you can go look at other people's pictures, press suite. But right now, it almost seems broken because there's only when you go to look at the biggest problem is that you can't really easily look at other people's photos. So
Oh,
if you go to the area that says internet, you can look at like a batch of 24 trending, 24 near you, 24 recommended. So you only get this kind of these weird couple pages of Pokemon pictures, and it doesn't really refresh that often. So you can go there, give a like or a tweet to every single one of those pictures, and then you're just kind of waiting, I guess. I mean, we don't really know how often it refreshes, but it's kind of an obtuse system, right? It's not like you
mhm.
have a feed where your friends posts go. And I've had a few pictures I thought were really good that I've edited and thought were hilarious, and got no likes because I think they just got buried in the algorithm.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, I honestly don't. It's like it's a halfway there, but not quite there setup, and you'll see that. I mean, it's fun to edit the pictures, but there's just not enough interaction with other people, and it's just not. I don't know. I did notice that on the home screen, or like the main UI menu screen on the right side, it will sometimes show a random person's picture.
Oh yeah, on the yep, when you're like selecting requests or whatever, one of them is just the picture. Yeah.
Yeah, some of those requests are hard.
You have no idea. I've gotten maybe 12, and I have 160 open. Like they're really hard.
Does that unlock anything? I mean, I think it gives
They
you.
they get you like little badges or the stickers or whatever.
Okay.
But some of them, if you like, some of them you can't do unless you open another pathway or you like you'll never get a 4-star of that Pokemon unless you solve that puzzle, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I see. Yeah.
So yeah, it's more it's not that those get you anything, it's that you can't do something else without them.
Hmm. Well, you know, I speaking of that, I actually find the choosing the Pokemon system, it's a little bit annoying because if you know, for the different star rankings, let's say you get a really good 2-star picture of a Pokemon, and but you also want to use a picture for one of the requests, you can't do that in one run. You have to make a choice.
Oh yeah, I mean, I understand that it's kind of padding or whatever. I actually kind of like that.
I was gonna say I kind of like it too. It's almost like the weapon breaking in Breath of the Wild, where like it forces you to make a hard choice about which one to use and which one to not use, and it's actually part of the fun, right? Like you're
Yeah,
guessing which picture is he gonna give me the highest ranking for. Like what? It's almost strategic.
I know. And do you use the auto pick pictures?
No, do you?
No, I don't, because there's a disadvantage to doing that. So I always I auto pick and then I go through and see if they pick the best one, but I always double check.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I kind of like that idea where it's like, there's for example, like I have a 4-star and it's okay, or I have a 2-star and my old 2-star was 3,500 and I think this one might be better and I want to get the 4,000 point for the platinum stars or whatever. So
Yeah.
it's kind of it's a toss of, do I go for the 4,000 or do I just take the easy 4 stars? So it's kind of I like that a lot about the game, actually.
Yeah, totally. It's fun. There's been a few times where I've got taken a picture that I did not think was as good as the original, but then I got a higher score. So sometimes I'm a little eyebrow raising over the scoring system for pictures. You know, it'll be like a Pokemon that has there's a big leaf in front of it, but somehow that gets a higher ranking than like a really cool frame of that Pokemon doing something.
Yeah, but it could be. I know, but it could be if the Pokemon's more centered or larger, or if there's other Pokemon on the screen. Like I agree. Sometimes it feels a little obtuse or like not well explained, but I still can see where the points come from. I never feel gypped, if
Yeah,
that makes sense.
totally. It's like you get that center frame, don't crop them picture of that Pokemon. It's really
Yeah,
great. You
there are
know,
a few times I got like three, like, because 4,000 is the highest score you want to get. After that, you're whatever. But I've gotten a few times where I've gotten like 3,999, and I was like, oh my god, how could they not give me that one extra point?
have you got any 5,000 points?
Only, yeah, I've gotten maybe, besides, like, outside of the bosses, maybe 3. But the bosses, I get 5,000 almost always.
Okay, and I thought it was funny because when I read that there were bosses, it's not really a boss. It's mostly
It's
just
well,
a
they had a
big
boss.
Pokemon.
It's kind
So
of like the boss in the first Pokemon Snap.
true. It's just funny to call it a boss when really it's just a big Pokemon you're taking pictures of, right? It doesn't really fight you.
No, it doesn't fight you. Yeah.
Although there's one, what is it, the jungle level where this one butterfly gets so up in your face. Do you know
Oh
what I'm
yeah,
talking
yeah.
about?
Around the first half of the level, right?
Yeah, I mean, I still can't figure out some of the secrets, like how to go through the second pathway in the jungle.
Oh yeah, behind the waterfall. I can't do that yet either.
Yeah,
But
I
it's
mean,
like, for example, I found there was a request for me for to have, those buffalo in the first level,
yeah,
to fight each other, to ram each other, and
yeah.
I just pelted apples at them, and then they rammed each other. So I was like, oh, I actually figured this one out. And then there's one where it's like, oh, there's like a bunch of burnt apples on the ground, and if you throw one on the ground, sorry, fluff fruit or what they're called, but and then a Pokemon came up and like electrocuted it, and I got that picture. So I mean, they're slowly coming. I don't think I can just kind of. I think some of the clues are a little vague on the request. I wish they had a little bit more of a hint system,
Yeah.
because sometimes it's like, oh, like, look in this field of flowers for a hidden Pokemon. And I'm like, that field of flowers is huge. And how do I possibly start looking in there? Like, do I just throw a bunch of stuff and hope I hit it?
To be honest, I don't see this as a game that I'm going to be able to 100%. And if I do, I'm definitely going to have to go online, look for guides, and find out how to get some of the Pokemon. I'm struggling even to get all their stars, like to find out what that 4-star or 3-star like
Well, that's what I'm
version
saying.
is.
You should beat the game, Peter, because there's some 4 stars that you won't be able to get. One, until you beat the game, and two, until you unlock, of like, some of those Pokemon are in other levels, right?
Yeah,
Or
for
in
sure.
higher levels of that, a higher, like, degree, like, whatever it's called, research levels of that area.
Okay, so I have a question for you. Speaking of the point system
Yeah.
and what you just said, so let's say there's a Pikachu in like the first level. I take a picture of it, I get 2,000 points, and then I take a picture of the Pikachu in a different level and get 3,000 points. Do I only get the 1,000 points added to the score of the second level I did, or do I get the full 3,000 for the Pikachu?
So I think that's the score to, like, upgrade your level is independent of the the picture dex pictures. I think it's just like the score, like when it ranks like the 5 different points that you get for that picture, that's what's adding to your score.
Okay, so so I would get the full points for like if I
I
got
think you would. I don't know if you necessarily get 3,000 or 1,000. I think you get a totally different amount based on a whole bunch of different factors. I think that research amount like doesn't, because I've had that situation happen where I found a Pokemon really late in the game that I've already taken like 50 pictures of. Like I'll give you an example, like a Magikarp. There's a Magikarp
yeah.
in like the second last level, and I got maybe 50 points higher than my other picture, and it definitely gave me a significant amount of points. So,
Okay, so it
yeah,
does.
yeah, for
But
sure.
if you got a second picture of that Magikarp in the same level and you only got 50 points more, then it will only add the 50 points to your score for that level.
I don't think so. I think it's still not quite 1-to-1.
Okay, weird. I still haven't really taken a full grasp of that. Even though the tutorial is like an hour, teach me to throw apples.
I wouldn't
Like,
really worry about how to get your research level up, besides just keep taking better pictures and getting higher scores.
yeah, it's a funny game because at some point it's relaxing because you're just really taking pictures and you can treat it that way. But on the other hand, it is a little bit stressful because you're trying to get all these pictures in such a short time frame, whipping around. Like, have you ever felt like you've whipped around and then you've seen like the Pokemon finish doing something cool? And
Oh
you're like,
yeah,
oh,
yeah. One of the first things I did was turn up the turn speed on the game because I felt
yeah,
like
I turned it to full.
yeah, me too. But yeah, like it is relaxing. But I agree where it's like, there's one picture I'm trying to take where it's like that big, that big blue guy in the jungle,
Yeah.
the Quagmire. He's like, so you have to take a picture of him jumping into the water. And I swear to God, I've tried it like 4 times, and you have to like to take a picture of him in the center of the frame when he's jumping, and you have a split second, and you want to get his face and his body in the middle of the frame. It's so hard, and I've done the whole level like 4 or 5 times trying to get that one shot, and I always like it's always off center. I clip his head. So
Yeah.
yeah, I know what you mean by a little bit of stress.
Yeah, I mean, there's sometimes where I almost go into it and I'll look at a Pokemon and I'll be like, okay, I'm focusing on this Pokemon. I'm not going to worry about what's happening behind me. I'm going to get the best picture I can of this one Pokemon, and then whatever's on the other side I'll get next time. Like it's almost
Yeah,
like focusing in.
or that sometimes I have the problem where it's like I do the same thing and I focus on one Pokemon. I spend like I'm throwing balls, I'm throwing fruit, I'm trying to like play the song or whatever, and I'm like in my head I'm like, oh my God, I'm not getting a good shot and I'm wasting all my film and all my time, and I'm like, I'm sure there's so many things happening behind me and I'm just wasting my time getting a bad picture.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny. There's areas of the on the levels where it feels so packed with Pokemon, it almost feels insane. And there are those moments where there's like only one, or like there's no
Yeah,
Pokemon.
yeah.
I remember the very first. I mean, you played Pokemon Snap on 64, right?
Yeah, I think I was pretty young, but I do remember playing it, like some of the levels. Yeah,
Like we didn't have it. We only rented it.
I know we didn't own it. Yeah, but I do remember seeing it and playing it a bit.
Like I feel like we rented it and we beat it on that rental. Like I
I don't
remember.
think we beat it. I think we beat like 6 levels and we thought we beat it, but there's some secret levels that like are very hard to find in that game.
Okay, I mean, I'd be interested to go back. I don't know if it's come up for the virtual console over the years, but I would replay that. I mean, it still just feels crazy that this N64 game has been remade and it like still kind of
Not remade, but
not
yeah.
remade, nude
Yeah.
or sequeled. Um, it does. It just has that N64 charm. I really like it. I would highly recommend it. I still think the price is a little bit high for it.
Yeah, I agree. Like I was about to say the same thing. I was playing with in front of my girlfriend while she was doing work and studying. But she kept asking, she's like, so that's the whole game? Like you just look and take pictures? Like you don't do anything, you don't battle? I was like, no, I'm just trying to get a good picture. And then I beat a level and I go to a new level and she's like, so what are you doing in this level? I'm like, well, I'm just taking more pictures. So like I agree, it's for the $80 Canadian game is there there's a lot to it, but there's also not a lot to it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's almost like we've conditioned to believe that a full price game needs like a split screen mode and like a real story. It needs to be like a third person action game. So it's like it almost goes. It's like the antithesis to what a AAA game, full price game should
But
be.
you know what? I look at it this way, where I spent, let's say, full price on an Assassin's Creed game, and there's 100 hours of gameplay in Assassin's Creed, huge open world, beautiful graphics. And I would say I have fun for maybe a couple hours, and Assassin's Creed, I had no fun. Where this game, I've already played 10 hours or whatever it is, and I still want to play more and having a blast.
Yeah, and it's something so different, right? Like it's not like it's something so out there that I don't know. It's like there's nothing else like it really. I
And,
mean,
and there's really no other franchise that could do a photograph game.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't feel the same with real animals, would it? It'd be like, why are those lions next to those other tigers, or or why are those animals so close together? It wouldn't make
Exactly.
sense.
And
I
there's
mean,
no other like there's no other video game franchise though that even has like maybe Digimon, but there's no other franchise that has a large enough kind of ensemble of characters to really do that.
yeah, of like nice, happy characters. Like they don't eat each
Yeah.
other. They
I
don't
I
attack
mean
each other.
I mean it would be kind of cool to have like a Mario Snap or even a Zelda Snap and you have like, all the Goombas and you have a Boo Castle and all the different ghost creatures and it could be kind of cool.
Well, the Wind Waker did sort of have that with the camera they gave you, and you had to get a picture of like every person and every enemy in the whole game.
Yeah, but Wind Waker had like 7 enemy. Honestly, I'm not a fan of Wind Waker, but
Well, yes, that's a topic for another day.
yeah.
Soon. But okay, so any last thoughts on Pokemon New Snap?
I would just say to our listeners, if you haven't got it and you have any kind of nostalgia for the first one, it's really good. It's a definite fun time, and you'll enjoy it. And it's meatier than you think it would be.
Yeah, I agree. That's the one thing that surprised me the most is there's a lot of game there, and it's really fun. Like even the different levels for every single level. You know, you can do level one, two, three, four.
Oh
It's
yeah,
like
especially have you ever gotten to the level 3 on some? Because
yeah,
level three is like it complete. There's so many more Pokemon.
yeah, it's a total remix.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. I recommend Nintendo One too. But there's another thing that happened this week. Weird Nintendo news. Super Mario Party got an online play added to it. Did you hear about this?
I saw the announcement. I didn't quite understand it. So because I thought it had online before, but now it has free for anybody to play.
No. So before it was online, you could only do a specific minigame mode online, which had a limited number of minigames. Now you can go online with friends and play basically the whole game. You can play this 2-on-2 mode as well as play the map. So it's the first Mario Party ever to allow online play on a map.
But let's say you own the game. Do I have to own the game to play it with you?
Yes, for sure.
Okay, I thought when it said free, because it says free online multiplayer or something like that, that I
I
assume
think that's only to say that it's free. It's like a free update.
patch. It's a free update.
You
Yeah,
still have
okay.
to have Nintendo Switch Online service and the
And the
game
game. Okay,
and the
that's what I was
controller
curious with the game. Okay,
and a house and electricity and
I
a
yeah,
TV.
I just thought it was kind of like back with the DS, where if one person had the game, other people could download it off them and just play
That's not
together.
really a thing on Switch because, but a DS and even 3DS, it was such a low amount of data it needed to send wirelessly.
Yeah.
But it's like for Mario Kart 8, for example, like there's no way you could just download a whole level onto your Switch in like a timely manner.
Hmm.
It'd be ridiculous. Um, no, everyone has to have the game. And the other thing I noticed that was weird is you can't play with strangers.
You
So you can't.
can't.
No, it's like you can only play with friends.
I don't get why. I find Nintendo games always do this. It's like they're on the right path, but they just don't get how to do online. It's like, like there should be a
Like
guy in a
one
guy
step
in
forward, two steps back.
yeah, but like how's there not one guy in the boardroom that says like imagines what a player wants? Like, a player probably wants to play this game with anybody. Like, how could no one think that would be a good idea and just put it in?
I think they look at all these things like as soon as you have the ability to play with strangers, you have the ability to like get harassed or make a connection. And there's more legal implications. They have to moderate. I think there's a certain maybe that's why. And
But I
also
mean, other games have playing with strangers.
I know even indie games. So it's kind of this weird. I think it's just a kind of this conservative mindset about having people play with strangers.
I don't think it's conservative. I think they just don't get it. Honestly, they're traditionalists and they just don't get it.
Well, I think there's also technical matters where even now, if you play Super Mario Party with friends and one friend's internet cuts out, the whole match will end. So
Oh wow.
it's just not polished the way you'd expect it to be. It's really weird. I think the reason that I brought this up as news because it wouldn't normally be that big of news, but the game's been out for 2.5 years, so it's just like this weird it hasn't had DLC at all. It's just a little strange that 2 years later or 2.5 years later it's gotten this DLC update and like what does
Hmm.
that mean? I mean, and also it now being the very first Mario Party online with the board games. I actually noticed it jumped a few spots on the eShop chart, so I wouldn't be surprised to see a sales boost.
Do you think maybe that they're, let's say, making the second one and they're behind schedule, so they're putting that out to kind of prepare for next year's Mario Party 2?
Well, my hope is that it has to do with them working on the online mode for Super Mario Party 2. I will assume it's
Well,
called
that's what I
Super Mario
mean.
Party
Yeah, I
2.
think like
But
they figured this out for Mario Party 2, but Mario Party 2 is delayed. So internally they're saying, well, let's get something out for Mario Party 1 to keep that people thinking about, mindshare kind of.
maybe I think it might have to do more than just having like getting an online mode set up for the next Mario Party. They've been practicing on this Mario Party. I don't think they're like,
Yeah.
oh, we're gonna delay a Mario Party game. Like, like they'd really want to delay it, but they just release it broken. You know what I mean? That's they've done it before.
Yeah.
So I don't think they're really worried about that so much. But I think it does bode well for the future of Mario Party being online.
I agree. I think there will be a sequel and I'll have better online, I hope.
It's just one of those franchises that it's so big they really can't treat it like crap anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they should put some effort into the next one and really make the online modes good, polish it, make it as polished as a Mario Kart. It's a huge franchise, and it's a huge franchise and something that I would have bought if it wasn't the way it was.
Yeah, I totally agree. I was excited for it until I saw that the maps were lackluster and just wasn't a lot to it. So
Yeah, well, who knows? As we've talked about our predictions for games this year, I still think a Super Mario Party 2 is coming this year, probably this holiday.
mm-hmm.
Um, okay, well, not too many other news topics this week, so we'll get on to our reading our fan mail letter.
Do we actually have a letter? Or are you just making this up?
No, that's a very short segment. It's over. So zero
Okay.
mail. Uh, okay, well, we haven't talked in a little over 2 weeks, Derek. What have you been playing other than Pokemon Snap?
Ooh, so Pokemon Snap, yeah, and I've been playing It Takes Two still,
Okay, have you
and
beaten that yet or no?
I haven't beaten it. I would say I'm probably in the last. I would guess the last 1/3,
Okay.
and still loving it. Some of the puzzles where I am now feel a little bit samey to other puzzles earlier on.
Yep.
But I still think it's a fantastic game. I still think it's going to be one of my top 10 of this year, maybe even the top 3, depending on what comes out. And then I haven't started this game yet, but I just got Life is Strange 2. So I'm going to probably crack through that this week and see what that's all about.
Okay, interesting. Nothing else? Nothing on
Um,
PS5?
Nothing on PS5 besides It Takes Two. And I'm playing some computer games, but kind of the same ones I've already mentioned before, Heroes of the Storm and Valheim and things like that.
Cool.
How about you, Pete?
Well, I've been playing a little more It Takes Two. I'm at the just beat the B level, like the third chunk, I think. So I don't know how far I am.
The B level?
Yeah.
Oh, you're like 20% in.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. You have
I
some
like
like
it.
really, yeah, you have a lot to go.
A couple of things I got to say is I don't love the story that much. I end up finding myself skipping the cutscenes. I don't know about you.
I don't skip them, but I don't really care for them. I just kind of talk with my girlfriend as they play.
True. I mean, the other thing I kind of realized too is if you remove the co-op aspects, it is a little bit of a 7 out of 10 game, with some of the platforming and, it doesn't feel.
Yeah. And I think if you had two, like, I think if you and I played this game, it would be very kind of boring and quick.
Yeah.
Like, I think you almost need to have that, not necessarily a relationship, but someone that's learning how to play and someone that's patient to teach them. Because I think you and I would quickly go, oh, I can make this jump, like line it up, doom, 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 and then we're on the next level.
Yeah.
You know?
I know what you mean. It almost feels like it's a little too tricky for beginner gamers, but too much or not enough for advanced gamers. So
yeah,
someone who's right in that middle spot, like someone who maybe can play a 3D Mario game a little bit, understand camera controls, but I've heard from some people where they're just like, yeah, my significant other can't even touch this.
Yeah, having two like the ambidextrous kind of dual analogs can be really tough, I think, for some people.
Yeah. But little things that make it great. I love the fast refreshing when you die.
Yeah, and I think the world design has a lot of really cool elements to it.
Yeah. But yeah,
and some of the puzzles, Peter, later on, and some of the gameplay, like you'll see, the gameplay gets really cool in the next half of the game.
Okay. I mean, I have a feeling it's one of those games that'll take me and whoever I'm playing with a long time to beat. Just because you both have to be in the mood, and I don't know. Usually, I can only really get one level done in a sitting. I don't know about you.
Oh, we usually play for like 2 hours, maybe.
Oh yeah, not with us. But the other thing, I've been playing some other games, trying to kill off my backlog. I actually have been gaming quite a bit. I decided to play Mario Odyssey again, and beat the whole thing.
That's like clearing a backlog. It's adding to your backlog.
You know what? I think it was because I had played a lot of 3D World and Bowser's Fury, and I had played the All-Star Collection, and I kind of was just feeling like playing Odyssey again after kind of doing the entire 3D Mario series.
Yeah.
And my opinion, I know we talked about it a few years ago about Mario Odyssey being one of the lower tier. I completely changed that opinion.
Oh, I don't think it's one of the lower tier. I just think that it's not one of the elite tier.
I do now actually.
Hmm.
I kind of did like a faster run of the game, so I didn't get bogged. I didn't like stay in any levels to collect more moons. You know, like as soon as I had enough moons
Yeah.
to move on, I did. So I kind of just did a once over. I breezed through the game. I never went backwards, and it was very delightful. Like it's almost a much better game on replays than I think people give it credit for.
Hmm.
Uh, I know the end game. There's a ton of moons, and wasn't. I think I beat the game with 140 moons.
Okay, nice. Yeah.
It's really good. Like it's a really good replay game, and I'm hesitant to say that might even be have the best controls of any game ever.
Yeah,
Uh,
I think the controls are 10 out of 10 in that game for sure.
yeah, I just can't think of a game that's more fun to play just in an open space, you know, and just to run around.
Yeah, just to like do
On your
whatever. Yeah.
map. Yeah, it's you know what we're talking about earlier with Pokemon Snap and a lot of Nintendo. Their intros to their games aren't very strong. I mean, compared to something like Mario Sunshine or even Galaxy, the intros on those games they're not very they're full of text and silly tutorials, and this one just gets you right into it. So it's
Hmm.
just feels very polished, and yeah, it was great. I mean, I was surprised by myself. I beat the whole thing,
Nice.
but
So what else have you been playing?
well, I've also almost beaten Resident Evil 3 remake.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I'm
What's
near
yeah,
the.
what's your thought on that one?
It's okay. Like it feels like a the version. It's weird to me that it seems to have worse graphics than Resident Evil 2 remake. It's almost like they went backwards. I can't describe it. Like I'm still enjoying it, but it just feels like not as good as Resident Evil 2 remake by even a country mile. You
Yeah, I
know?
think to me it's like a Resident Evil 2 remake is like an 8.6 out of 10 and this game's like a 7.8. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like it's still really good. It's a solid play, but there's things that just don't it doesn't feel the same way. I know what you mean.
yeah. I mean, I'm enjoying running away from Nemesis. That's been a little, you know, tense a few times. Even though this one time you're actually supposed to fight him, and sometimes you don't really know. You either are supposed to fight him or supposed to run. Um, and I don't know. Sometimes it feels a little cheap, like he'll jump right in front of you. But I don't know. I mean, it's a weird one. Like the zombies don't even degrade. You know the way they did in Resident Evil 2 remake, where if you like shot them, a piece of their bone would fly off of their arm.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
It doesn't seem to be doing that as much. And the other thing is, I feel like I'm already at the end of the game.
It's very short. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very
It's
short.
meant
Like,
it's meant to be more like an arcade game where you play it through in an hour and a half, 2 hours. Like you can really beat it in 2 hours.
yeah, it seems like it. And they give you a ton of ammo. So, you know, I've been playing the first half pretty conservatively, trying to run away from zombies, and I'm finding that I have so much ammo and so much life. I probably should have played on a harder difficulty.
Yeah, I played it most of them on hard, I think.
Yeah. But I mean, the other thing I was thinking while playing it was it's kind of like you can't help but compare it to the amazing Resident Evil 2 remake, but I'd still rather play Resident Evil 3 remake than Resident Evil 5 or 6, you know?
I disagree.
Oh, really?
Resident Evil 6, yeah. Resident Evil 5 is leagues better than Resident Evil 3 remake.
Really? Okay, so I don't agree
Resident Evil
with you
5
there.
is really, really good.
I don't agree with you there because and we even beat Resident Evil 5 together.
I've
This
beaten it like 6 times. Maybe it's just nostalgia, but I play that with almost every single one of my close friends that plays video games, and I have a blast every time I play it. That game's
so it's
great.
clearly nostalgia for you.
Well, I think it's just I think it's a great game.
I still find some of the updates they've done for Resident Evil 3 remake, just like the UI using items, it feels so much smoother. The play controls are so much smoother than that Resident Evil 4 through 6 generation. You know, has better graphics, obviously.
Yeah,
And
I mean,
Resident
like
Evil
there's things
5
that are
like
just
falls
for
off a
being more
cliff.
modern. Of course, it's going to be better in those ways, but I just think when I play Resident Evil 5, despite there is jankiness, there are silly moments, there are stupid story, the item system's kind of wonky. It's just way more fun. It's more fun to play Resident Evil 5 than it is to play Resident Evil 3. In Resident Evil 3, it's not that I didn't have fun, but Resident Evil 5 is honestly is probably the most fun Resident Evil game besides 4. That's my opinion.
Wow.
It's not, but
Hot
it's
take.
again, some of the Resident Evil games are scary and horror, and that's what makes them fun. That game is just fun because it's fun to be a co-op. It's like a triple A co-op story game. How many of those are there? I think that's probably the only one.
It Takes Two.
Yeah, but I mean, like triple first person shooter or third person shooter, kind of like a real
No, I
triple
mean
A.
I don't mean to hate on Resident Evil 5. I just found like the second half of the game and the environments, like it just got a little bit silly where with Resident Evil 3, at least I feel like I'm in the Raccoon City, I'm running through the streets. There's like a much better art style to it for me. Um
I mean, every single Resident Evil game has a poor ending. I can't think of a single one that the last like 20% of the game is not the worst part of the game. Every single Resident Evil, that's true.
I mean, yeah, even though I love the ending of Resident Evil 4, it's not as good as the first four-fifths.
Exactly.
Um, yeah, that is funny. I mean, how would you rank the Resident Evil games if you had to, like your top three?
Uh, I would say Resident Evil 4,
Yep.
and then I'd say probably Resident Evil 2 remake,
Hmm.
and then I would say Resident Evil 1 remake is top three, but I probably enjoy 5 more just because I played it more. But I think Resident Evil 1 remake is probably the third place for me.
Yeah, I'm exactly the same. And I think honestly, Resident Evil 7 might be the fourth.
Yeah, for me, it would be 5 and then 7 or 7. Yeah, I think 7 would be in the top 5 for me. I put 5 probably in fourth place.
Yeah, we could do a whole podcast about that. I mean,
Yeah, I mean the eighth one comes out this week, so maybe everything will be changed.
yeah, I've it's just funny now that I played three. Three was like the one missing one on the list. I played every single Resident Evil now.
The
Zero,
only one I'm missing is Code
Veronica.
Veronica.
Oh, you should play it. It's a good one.
I know. Well, how am I supposed to play it until it gets a remake?
Can't you download it on the PSN store?
Maybe, I don't know.
I think that. Well, I think
And
they
I never
re-release
played
it.
I never played Revelations 2.
I see. I have Revelations 2 on Switch. We should play it sometime. It's actually fun.
Okay.
It's not amazing. It's kind of janky. Like I would put it comparable to Resident Evil 5. But
Okay.
that's me.
So those are
Uh,
the games. So any other games you're playing?
no, that's pretty much it. I mean, I
What's the next game you're gonna play after now that you've beaten Mario Odyssey and like it's Pokemon Snap? But what about after Resident Evil 3?
well, I'm downloading GTA 5 on the Xbox because it's on Game Pass. So I'm gonna give that another probably a 50% through whirl on the next gen
Why didn't you play
consoles.
The Evil Within?
Well, I find those kind of games stress me out a little bit. So after going through Resident Evil 3, I need something a bit different.
Okay, but that's like the game you should play.
Well, see, I've been waiting for number two, but number two isn't on Game Pass yet.
Yeah, but The Evil Within 1 versus 2 are completely different games as far as even feel. Like number 2 is almost like Resident Evil, almost like 4 and 5, and The Evil Within 1 is almost more like Resident Evil 1.
Okay, I'll check it
Like,
out.
yeah, I'm telling you, it's such a good game.
Okay. I mean, especially now that it's on Xbox Game Pass and has like the upgraded frame rate and everything. I really
Yeah, and you should also play the game Prey. Prey by Arcane Studios that came out, I think, 2018.
Yeah, it's on there too. I mean, Game Pass is overwhelming. Like
I
I have
know,
so
but
many games loaded on
it's
my
like
system that I have to
that's why I don't know why you're
delete
playing
them.
GTA. Like out of all the games you could play, especially now that Bethesda, like there's a slew of amazing games down there, and you pick GTA 5 that you've played before.
Hey, it's that good.
I just, I mean, it has like tons of sales, but I just mean, there's so many good games that you have to play. Like,
Well, it's funny because I mean, it's whether or not I'm gaming on my Switch or my Xbox. I mean, I still have to beat Crash Bandicoot. I still got to beat Pokemon Snap, so I'll probably be more playing Switch this
yeah, I
next
have
few
about
weeks.
20 games in my backlog, and I'm hoping to get through them maybe in the 2021 calendar year.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I feel like I'm almost caught up, but I'm
Yeah, I mean,
I feel like I'm caught
slowly
up.
started saying games I'm just not going to pick up and play again. Like, there's just some games I won't beat, Like Kingdom Hearts 3, even though I own it, I'm just going to say I didn't enjoy the first couple hours. I'm never playing that game again. I refuse. It's out of my backlog now.
Yeah, you almost have to get to that point. Or sometimes if I get over halfway through a game, like that's enough, to
Yeah,
kind of
exactly.
give it its day. It's weird with Game Pass though, because I'll download a game like downloaded Near Automata,
Oh, yeah.
and like I just haven't even pressed play. It's just sitting there like filling up space.
The game's okay. you might not love that game. I mean, you might love it. You like Bayonetta, but I personally didn't find that game all that great.
Okay, well, it's free, so
Yeah,
can't
but
go
again,
wrong.
so many other games are free. Like you pick the weirdest games to download when I give you the best recommendations.
I know, but sometimes I want to play a game that I know, like Mario Odyssey. It's like it feels really great to play. Like I don't, it's I'm like more relaxed playing it. Or if I do get a game like Prey, now I've got to kind of focus for the first few hours, and like it's really high tension, hiding, and it's more of an extreme gameplay situation.
I know, like but
It's a
that's,
comfort
I mean,
food.
I'm like that too, where I like to balance. Like I like to have Pokemon Snap going, and also, I'll play Hitman or something on PS4, which is a little bit more focused and attentive. But I just think when you play an attentive game, like a game that requires more intensity, you should ask me before just picking a random game. I know your type. Like I'll pick a good game for you.
Okay, well, you're saying the Evil Within is definitely a good game.
I think the Evil Within one has some jank, but its setting is good. It's probably the best horror survival game since Resident Evil 4.
Okay,
And the second one is probably the best third person action game. I mean, not the best, but it's a very good third person action game with a lot of polish.
okay, I'll give it a go.
And
Um,
Prey is awesome.
okay, yeah, isn't there Prey 2 coming out?
I don't think there's anything confirmed right now. The company that made it, Arcane Studios, is working on Deathloop.
Yeah, which looks very awesome.
Yeah,
Speaking of which, we kind of, now that Pokemon Snap is out, and we bought that. What's the next? Tell me, like, what's the next Switch game you plan to buy, or you're looking forward to buying, or and what's the next non-Switch game you're looking forward to buying?
yeah. So for Switch games, I mean, there's not too many officially announced to come out. Like I know there's Mario Golf, and there's No More Heroes 3, and there might be
Skyward
some
Sword.
Skyward Sword. For me, I have no interest in getting Skyward Sword again. I no matter what, I have the game. I've beaten the game several times. There's nothing there for me. No More Heroes 3. I played the first one. It was okay. Didn't really hook me like it does some fans, so I'm probably gonna pass. And Mario Golf is something I probably will get or won't get depending on the reviews. I think it will do better than Mario Tennis. I think it will do well, and I plan to get it. I've kind of budgeted to get that, but I could see it getting an 80, and I could see it getting a 65. Like it's
Yeah,
it's made by Camelot, right? So and Camelot, honestly, they're one of my favorite developers in the olden days, and now I think they're just hit and miss, hit or miss.
your golf. They never really made a botched golf game though.
Yeah,
Uh,
they never
Botched
messed up the
tennis
golf.
games, but
I
yeah,
just but you know what, when they add that rush mode where you have to run to the thing, again, all I get is the vibe of Mario Tennis, where they have those super power ups, and it's like it just takes over the gameplay. It's the only mode you can play online.
yeah.
The mode is the only that's the whole mode for the story game. It's like I could see them just like not getting it, like just make us play some fun normal golf.
I agree. Well, I mean, the thing that gives me hope about Mario Golf is that in the trailer they showed, they kind of had like a single player mode. They showed motion controls and regular controls. Like it's almost like this is the ultimate. It's kind of like
Yeah,
the Smash Bros. Ultimate of Mario Golf is what I'm hoping. So
yeah, and I actually watched that trailer recently, like maybe a couple days ago,
it's a hilarious
and
trailer.
yeah, I know I love the speaker, like the voiceover.
Yeah,
But I noticed that in the story mode, they have these like little missions, kind of similar to the Golf Story. I know you haven't played Golf Story, but these little like kind of like, oh, like chip it in or like do something small, and that gives me a lot of good feelings about it being kind of a normalized game with real RPG elements and kind of normal golf, and not just that gimmicky super run stuff all the time.
yeah. Like the Super Rush mode, it's like that's a negative for me when they show that. Like if they had
I think
not
it'll
show
be
that, yeah,
like I think it'll be fun, and I don't mind doing it once in a while in the story mode. But I will, after the story mode's done, I'll never play that mode again.
yeah, I agree. Like it really is should be treated like a side mini game, not like the main
Not
prize.
the title of the game. Like
Yeah,
they, and that's what it worries me, is they do that for every golf game, and well, not so much golf, but every single tennis game. Right, the past like 3 tennis games have had that issue where they add a gimmick and that just takes over.
yeah. It's almost like keep the gameplay the same and just give us all the bells and whistles and features and unlockables that we finally want.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Like
that does worry me that the title is Super Rush because is the whole like main story mode going to force you into this what should be a mini game?
yeah,
You know?
like it's so easy to make a good game. All they have to do is play it safe and standard and just add content and people will play it.
Yeah, well, let's wait and see. I mean,
Yeah, again, I have hope for it. I'm planning on buying it. I think it won't do that, but I just, when it comes to Camelot in the past, 3 or 4 games, they missed their mark in my mind.
yeah, I mean, I really like Mario Tennis Aces. Did you buy that?
For the Switch,
Yeah.
no. And again, I think that there's gimmicks to that game that I never wanted to play, and I didn't think the online was very good, and the story would look really lackluster.
Well, like I said, the online in Mario Tennis is good, and you can choose like the standard mode.
Okay,
So
so they updated some of that too, right?
yeah, and they actually patched the game a lot and added added whole modes to it, lots of characters. So it's a much better game now than when it first came out. But it's come around, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't love the main mode, which is like, super power ups and it zooms in on the screen and all that stuff. I don't love it, but it is treated like the main predominant mode. So it's a little bit annoying, but for me in Mario Golf, I'm probably 50-50 right down the middle. I'm waiting for reviews, and the biggest thing to me is to see how the online is. Because
Yeah,
if
I
they did it
agree.
like they did it on the 3DS where you could have tournaments and like it would save your score and the ghost. Do you remember that? And then like you could play my tournament. You'd have like a week to play it. And then as you played it, you could like go to a course, and as you're playing, it would show you like where my ball landed, but we don't
Yeah,
have to
that's
be
cool.
together. So like, and it showed you like when drive the ball, like if you had the longest drive out of anyone in that who's played that tournament, and people online would just randomly play tournaments, and it's like it's a really cool mode. I just really need the game to have that type of hook, where I'm able to quickly jump online, no hassles, no star rush mode or whatever it's called, super rush.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm pretty 50-50 on that.
And
Um,
for a non-Nintendo game, just to bring us back to the topic,
yeah,
unless you had more to say about that.
no,
But non-Nintendo game, I would say, is Ratchet and Clank, coming out in June.
yeah,
So
it
that'd
looks
be both
incredible.
those games are in June. Yeah, that game, the new trailer that came out a couple days ago. If you haven't seen it, listeners, check it out. But yeah, it looks phenomenal. I mean, people always relate it to Pixar. I think it just looks unbelievable. He enters the city and there's 100 flying cars above him,
Yeah.
and it just looks fun. And again, Ratchet and Clank is one of my favorite franchises. Insomniac Games is one of my favorite developers. So that's probably one of the only day one games that I'll be buying this year that's not Nintendo.
Yeah, it looks well. We don't really know what the second half of the year holds, so it's
No, yeah,
hard to make that
I'm
claim.
just trying to be careful with my spending. So I'm trying to wait for games to go on sale, but that's one of those games I just can't wait for.
Yeah, it honestly might have the best graphics of any game I've ever seen. Like so
Yeah.
many particles flying around when you break things, and just like loading the one segment in that new trailer where it's like very quickly loading between spaces is so.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that game will be probably the best Ratchet and Clank game in reviews and sales. Might be a big statement to make, but because I know
Yeah,
that
I don't know about
big.
reviews. I think sales for sure.
Yeah, because some of those older ones got really high reviews, didn't they?
Uh,
On PS2.
yeah, some of them like got even like 92 kind of thing. So I just don't see it. I don't see it. I mean, I don't want to talk about reviews because we have a little bet going, so I'm not going to talk too much about that. But
Yeah.
yeah,
The other thing is No More Heroes 3. I know you mentioned it. When we first saw it, it didn't look that good, but they've since released more gameplay footage where I think it looks 10 times better. Uh,
I get, again, I thought the first one looked good, and the gameplay just didn't click with me. It's too all over the place for me.
yeah, well, we'll see. I mean, I think this third one is probably going to end up the best selling in the whole series.
Oh, 100%. I think on the
Um,
Switch is going to be the best selling in the whole
you're
series.
right. But it kind of goes back to the first one a little bit with like the open world city and the chores, and like I think they put a lot of work into this game. It's been in development for a while, so I'm kind of cautiously optimistic about it, because if that ends up doing well or looks exciting, I mean, I'll probably cave on that too.
I would buy it if it got like a 94.
Yeah. Oh,
Uh,
that high? I mean, to me, I'd probably get it if it got 85 or higher.
I wouldn't, because again, I think the first one got like an 80 something, and it did not click with me.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I almost just really want to see it succeed because of like the developer, and knowing it's kind of like a low budget
Yeah, yeah.
kind of thing. But yeah, it is weird to think how few games are actually announced for this year from both Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo. Usually at this point we have some roadmap of like what the big holiday game from on the so at least from Sony will be.
Well, we know what games are coming out up to June, and then we have E3, mid-June. So I think we'll get a lot of information there, and even Nintendo, we have some games for August. So, um,
Yeah.
and I know, even though we don't necessarily know the exact day, there are some pretty clear games that we know are coming in that second half for both Sony and Nintendo. We
Yeah, I
have
mean, we know
Ghostwire
Deathloop.
Tokyo,
Yeah.
Deathloop. We have Kena the Bridge of Spirits, Ghostwire Tokyo if it doesn't get delayed. For Nintendo, we have No More Heroes, Skyward Sword, with an
Pokemon.
yeah, exactly. There's that off chance of Breath of the Wild 2, or even again, we're going to debate this too eventually, but I think Hollow Knight, the sequel, there's a good chance that that's a big game for Switch coming out this holiday. So
Yeah, totally. I mean, yeah, it's a weird point of the year, usually June, because you're like, I mean, E3 is coming up quick. Like it's not our next podcast, but the one after we'll be talking about E3. Isn't that crazy?
yeah, that is wild, eh?
Yeah, I'm pretty stoked for it. I think we'll see a good lineup from all the publishers.
Yeah, me too. Give me a heads up.
Um,
I gotta double check the dates and take them off work.
I think yeah, seriously. I think it starts on a Sunday,
Okay,
June 12th.
I have so many days to take off that yeah.
I believe
Literally.
it's June 12th to 15th.
Okay, good to know.
Yeah, the next game I get that's not a Nintendo game is probably going to end up being Microsoft Flight Simulator.
Yeah, that game looks awesome.
Yeah, it looks really awesome. I know it came out last year on the PC, but it's coming to Game Pass in, I believe, June. I mean, I'm not going to get too into the flight controls and everything, but you can just put it on like a background, and just watch a plane fly for a real.
Yeah, it's like autoplay. Yeah, it's cool.
So I'm going to definitely get that. That looks really cool. And they also have what's it called, Fall Guys, coming to Switch. No release date on that one yet, but I'm definitely
Fall Guys is really fun. Yeah.
Seems like a perfect game for Switch. That and Tony Hawk.
Honestly, I think Fall Guys is the worst game for Switch, but I mean,
Just because of the online, you mean?
Yeah, honestly, the Switch just has bad internet, bad connection. So we'll see how it goes, but I don't know.
Well, I mean, might be my only option. Don't think it's on Xbox.
Oh, really?
No, I think it's just on PC and PlayStation 4 so far.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Well, I guess I could bust out my PS4 and play it.
Yeah, I think it's $40 for me. It's a really fun game. It's a cool spin on the battle royale genre.
Yeah. Well, it seems like the kind of thing that Nintendo would have been. Like,
it's kind of like it's kind of like Tetris 99 almost, like 99, but platforming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That looks fun.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that about concludes this week's topics.
Yeah, that sounds good.
If our readers are listening, please leave us a comment. Let us know you're there. Let us ask us a question. We'll cover it next time. All right. Well, I guess that's everything. So this is Pete signing out.
And this is Derek. See you later.